Just now, the Western Cape Department of Transport has launched the Blue Dot Taxi Scheme, which is aiming to address violence in the taxi industry. The scheme also doubles up as a rating service, which enables commuters to rate the service received from taxi operators. Highly rated drivers, we are told, are awarded, and the participating minibus taxis are kitted with a tracking device. So far, about 1,000 drivers have signed up for the scheme. Let's get you more on this initiative. Bring in now Jandre Bakker, who's the spokesperson for the Western Cape Transport Department. Jandre, great to see you. Thanks so much for making time to chat to us. We're told this is meant to improve safety for public transport in the province. Tell us how.
Thank you for the opportunity. The minibus taxi industry is the largest provider of public transport services. They deliver essential service, but if we look at the greater scheme of things, they have a couple of challenges that they face. Because the existing economic fundamentals incentivizes that fare chasing, overloading, destructive competition, recruitment of illegal operators, and route contestation. And this is further exacerbated by a lack of government support and investment in this industry, which only receives about 1% of the public transport funding nationally. So we went about and we said, how can we disrupt this way of work? And how can we turn that negative incentive on its head and try and contribute to the formalization and professionalization of the industry? And that's when we brought this initiative about. So as you mentioned, it is to improve the quality and safety of the service provided to the passenger. It is to achieve the formalization, professionalization, empowerment and transformation of the industry. And it's to address two of its most challenging issues, as you mentioned, namely those illegal operations and violent conflict. This pilot will run for 9 months, 600 operators, currently 1,000 vehicles on the road already, with a further 300 coming online within the next couple of weeks, because before they can go live, they need to have green status. So owners and drivers must have their documentation in order and complete the training program. The taxis must have valid roadworthy certificates and be fitted out with that tracker that you mentioned as well as that big blue brand on the side of the vehicle. Yeah. So the big thing is, if we look at your big insurance companies and medical aids, they've got this system where they reward you for good behavior and don't necessarily wrap you over the knuckles if you behave badly. And that's exactly what this process is, or this pilot project is trying to achieve. And by creating these regional companies that we will be dealing with, immediately brings us a form of stability. It brings a form of formalization, professionalization, and then obviously the positives will hopefully stem from that.
Right. Are you not worried that this idea or this feature of achieving green status might have, call it, unintended consequences? And by that I mean you have drivers that are typically compliant and whose vehicles are in a good condition actually signing up to be monitored at the very least, while those who should probably have a tracker on them don't come forward because they can't attain this green status?
That's a very good question, and it's interesting, and that's exactly why we only have 1,000 of the 1,300 vehicles that initially signed up that we currently have out on the roads. So obviously we want to be part of the good guys, because it will be worth your while financially if you're part of the good guys. So if you make sure that your vehicle is roadworthy, and we will assist you in that process of getting your vehicle roadworthy by guiding the company to whom you report. Obviously, the driver isn't necessarily the only one. We constantly, or society constantly keeps the driver responsible, but it's also the operator and the associations that need to play their part. And by making it worth their while, making it worth the while for the operator to make sure that their vehicle is in roadworthy condition, obviously that will then bring about the positive change that we're hoping to achieve. And you will be surprised how inundated we are with calls to become on how more vehicles can become part of this project. We're very hopeful that this will become not only a pilot, but a full project on the longer term based on that buy-in. People want to conform. People want to be part of law-abiding citizens. It's not like someone really wants to chase fares, speed, etc. But if that's what they need to do to make ends meet on a daily basis, then that's pretty much what they will do. So we need to put a mechanism in place to take that burden off, and then to say, well, if you comply, if we support you in that compliance, how about being part of this project, And we see more and more people wanting to become part of this process, and we see it in the ratings already coming in. We've seen a couple of bad ratings coming in. We contact the guys, and immediately you can, because you track it with the unique number that's on the outside of the vehicle, you can see that guys immediately go into, the driver just slowed down. The driver says we must put up our masks. So definitely, even in the short term, I mean, we only went live last Saturday, the 15th. We're already seeing positive impact.
Yeah. And how are you authenticating that the ratings are legit? I mean, my intention is not to sound cynical, but I can imagine a situation very easily where there's some kind of conspiring or collaboration between drivers and a handful of would-be commuters who can just push the rating of said driver up in order to get these benefits whilst said driver goes about driving the way they used to.
That's wonderful. Remember, it's not just the rating system that we use. They've got trackers in the vehicles. So even if none of the passengers flag that the driver is speeding, our tracking system, which speaks directly to our intelligence hub, will automatically pick up that there are drivers that are driving too fast, that are braking harshly, that are cornering harshly, that are off their approved routes. We also have on-the-ground monitors, and not everyone walks around with the clipboard making them know that they are monitoring. So yes, the rating system is one of the mechanisms in place, but we also have other technologies and monitoring on the ground to make sure that drivers are driving well, not speeding, following the rules of the road, following the rules of their operating license, that they're not overloading, and even that they're complying with COVID-19 regulations.
All right, Jandre Bakker, thanks very much indeed for your time. That scheme from the Western Cape Transport Department called the Blue Dot Taxi Scheme.